Hey gamers! I used to play Pokemon, but then they changed what Pokemon was. Now how I remember Pokemon isn't it anymore, and what Pokemon is weird and scary. It's Jason.
Hi, like Ash, I too am 10 years old with 20 plus years of experience. Casey.
Hey gamers, it's Adam. Game Freak, go back to 2D games.
And I'm 4 times weak to fat asses. It's me, Patrick. Welcome to RPGaymer bonus episode number 1, a podcast about nuzlocking and Pokemon. So you'll notice that there are a lot of us on this episode, and it's because after we had our Pokemon episode with Adam on there, we kind of talked about and played around with the idea of doing a full Nuzlocke challenge, all 4 of us doing our own venture into the Nuzlocking world and seeing how it would go. For those of you who don't know, Nuzlocking is just a different way to play Pokemon, and for me it's really exciting, and for other people it's a daunting challenge. But before we get into that, why don't we just kind of like talk about what it means to Nuzlocke a game, because Pokemon is fun, but I feel like Nuzlocking can make it more fun and exciting. Jason, you played with the base rules of Nuzlocke, or did we add some?
I played with the rules that we outlined in our little side sheet. So like the can't go above a certain level, catch the first Pokemon that you encounter. If you miss them, you miss them. They die.
Yeah, so base rules would be like nickname a Pokemon when you catch it.
Oh yeah.
You only can catch the first Pokemon that you see, and then if you lose the Pokemon, it's gone.
Yep.
Like kaputs. But you had augmented rules, so let's go into those a little bit more, because I think Casey, you had very similar rules as well. So
Yes.
What were they again?
If any Pokemon faints, like you said, it's dead. RIP. Only catch the first one you encounter in each area. You can't reload if you mess it up.
Oh, that's a good point too. When you're playing this challenge, it's not really a challenge if you can just like reload your last save.
Right,
So
like save before a boss. Yeah. No legendary.
What were some of the augmented rules that we added?
I did no dupes.
No dupes.
Nice.
I did no dupes as well.
Same.
I think mine were pretty close to the base rules, but that was one that I always do for variety. Is that why you did it, Adam?
Yeah, basically. I just wanted, because I got to a point where I was just using Torterra because everything else I trained or put 5 minutes into trying to level it up would immediately die. So I was just like,
yeah,
Torterra is kind of just leading the charge here. So I need to like give myself that extra bit of challenge, which was whatever the first Pokemon of that route is, if it's the same Pokemon I already have, just kill it and I don't get anything from that route.
Oh, you did no dupes like that. I did no dupes as in if I catch, or if I see a Pokemon in a new area that's something that I already have, I can catch a different Pokemon.
Okay,
that's what I did too. Yeah. You
so
did like no dupe like hard mode. That's crazy.
Yeah, seriously. Because Jason, I know like, and Casey, both of you started with older games.
Yes.
It is harder in older games when you play with, you would have to catch duplicates, because there's just not a lot of Pokemon variety.
If I played Adam's rule, I would literally only have freaking Zubats and like Tentacools the entire game. You laugh, but I am not kidding. That'd be the entire team.
You're a poison gym leader.
Yeah.
What speaking of which, you guys playing older games, which games did you Nuzlocke?
I started with the Game Boy Advance's Pokemon Sapphire, because I had previously played it about halfway through and then moved on to something else, and I just wanted to get back into it. I think with Pokemon for me, I intended to play like one generation and then skip one and play the next one and skip one. So I actually pretty much skipped over this one, so it was fun to go back and try.
How about you, Casey?
Well, I started with Pokemon Leaf Green. I was doing an emulator of that, and I felt like I was doing pretty good. I had my I don't know if this is considered cheating, but I had like my speed up on like the emulator, because I was like, we're gonna make this go quick, and then like I think it was either right before or right after the first gym, I had like 6 Pokemon, and I died in like on one of the routes to a trainer,
Oh no.
or in maybe it was Viridian Forest even. I don't remember. I was really upset, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do another Pokemon game because that was just infuriating. So I went online and I found a used copy of Pokemon Y, which I did used to own. And I bought that, and I did that on my 3DS, and that was a lot better.
See,
Good.
Casey's playing with that super rule where when you lose the game, you just destroy the game itself, and you have to
Yep.
play a different one.
Yep. I did
Delete
drag
it.
that. I dragged dragged that ROM into the garbage bin and clicked recycle.
And the best part about playing Pokemon X or Y is that you also get to dress your character
Hey.
as you're nuzlocking.
Yes, I actually didn't really do that. I was like, I'm gonna save my money for potions, but then I still had like a shit ton of money that I didn't spend.
Okay, why choose potions when you can choose fashion?
Yeah, I did kind of wish I had changed my hair because I like that default shaggy ass hairdo is not cute, and I think I changed it.
No, it's
I
not.
changed it at one point, but then like he put on the hat, and I was like, well, this was stupid. It didn't even matter. So I was annoyed. Didn't do anything.
Adam, what
after
game
that.
did you play?
I went with Pokemon Platinum just because that was the game I'm most familiar with, and it's also probably my favorite of like the old school games.
Nice.
But not anymore.
Because of the starter.
Yeah, well, yes, mostly because of the starter. But I wanted to chuck my 3DS through a window so many times, but we got through it. Barely, but we got through it.
That's good.
Patrick,
what did you
I
play?
played Black 2.
Oh, yeah.
I also
Wow.
and not only was mine just pretty close to a traditional Nuzlocke, it was a blind Nuzlocke because I've never played through Black 2 before.
Oh,
Like Gen 5 is the only gen I have not played, and I had a copy of it from game collecting, and I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go. Like, why not do something new so that way I'm a little more interested in it? And yeah, we'll talk about that when we get there. We'll talk about how that went. One other thing, some other rules is I was just checking over our little list. I think Casey, Jason, and I'm not sure how this went for you, Adam. We did no EXP share
Oh yeah.
on ours because that can really, especially in some of the later games, that can really break the game because everyone just gets experience. I think in the older games, it's a little bit more understandable because you like it's just one other Pokemon as opposed to the full team. And then Casey, I know you played with a small handful of revives.
I did. This is my first Nuzlocke, and I knew I was gonna. I don't know. I get angry at games sometimes, so I was like, I'm just gonna give myself a little buffer, just in
feel
case.
you.
Yeah, I think for like you play the game that you want to play, and I think just doing a Nuzlocke on its own is making it challenging enough. So if you're giving yourself a little bit of room to learn and whatnot, 3 revives in the grand scheme of things, unless you're playing like the easiest of them, I think it's totally fair. So I think that was justified. Jason, did you play with revives as well?
No, I didn't. They were nice to sell because they sold for some money after a
They
while.
do.
But
for
no,
clothes.
I don't have clothes in my game. We run around naked. So I
actually the same outfit the entire time.
yeah, it gets super sweaty. We go into like water. It's nuts. We go into water quite a lot. So I think I didn't do revives or anything like that, but I did do one asterisk to my run where I did lose at some point, and I was like, I want to keep going, so I just revived that team and just kept going. But I didn't get much further. We can get into that later. That was my only like asterisk.
Adam, any additional rules for you, or was it pretty much just your crazy rendition of no dupes?
yeah, I did no dupes, and then I will come clean. I did use the experience share. However, in fairness to me, the Pokemon that I used them on,
weak.
Well, the Pokemon I used them on, I immediately like threw them to the beginning of my party to like run through. Both died immediately, so I was just like, you know what? This is just slowing me down. So
You're doing yourself a favor.
Yeah, so I got rid of the experience share, and then I did resets 3 times when I got to a boss. So like if a boss just cleaned out my team, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna reset and go through it again. So I only had to reset 3 times versus a rival, and surprisingly, I got through the Elite Four with no resets.
Wow.
nice.
Nice.
I was very, very shooketh.
Shooketh.
Well, speaking of shooketh, I think one thing that I really want to get into, especially for people, especially for something that people can really relate to in terms of nuzlocking, are those initial fears before you start. So what was it about this challenge that you were afraid of before you actually even started?
I mean,
I don't do. Oh, sorry.
I say
No, go ahead,
go
Casey.
for it.
I don't do well with self-imposed challenges like in my life, so that's what's kind of prevented me from doing a Nuzlocke. Is like if I can't like actively turn on a setting that's going to prevent me from doing something, I was like, I don't trust myself to do that. And so that was my biggest fear, but it wasn't too bad besides the times that I lost guys, which all happened kind of at once. And it was very anger inducing, like so much so that I like yelled and my boyfriend was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "No, I'm not okay."
No.
But that was my biggest challenge going in. I was like, am I going to cheat? Am I going to bend the rules and just do it? But it was fine.
I think that's something that everyone can relate to too. I mean, my biggest thing is always gamer integrity, because I can break the rules and no one will know, and I can say like I did this Nuzlocke to these standards,
You're
and
just
no one
lying to
will actually
yourself.
know no one will actually know if I did that or not. So that is one thing that is a little bit of a fear of myself, of like, am I robbing myself of this experience by not showing the integrity?
I say yeah. My thing was gonna be like, I'm gonna have to put 10 hours into this game, and then I'm gonna be done for, and then I'm gonna have to start all over. And I was like, that sounds horrifying. But I say that, and then also I got to a point where I was just, my fear was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna finish this. What am I gonna do if I don't finish this? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So that was kind of for me.
Yeah, I think similarly with timing, I was like, oh, I need to finish this. It's going to take some time. But I think my biggest fear was just knowing that I could lose the Pokemon, and that sounds pretty shitty. So I did a lot of like pre-fight research. So I usually had a walkthrough that was up too, to be like who was coming up, or I would use the Nuzlocke app that Patrick
Yes.
showed too. So I would know what's coming, so I could be like, okay, I can prepare for this and at least be ready. So I'm literally like playing the game for like 25 seconds, looking at my phone and being like, okay, I can go to the left. And then I would like go that way. But it worked out.
I want to talk about that really quickly too, like the Nuzlocke app, because I think that like sometimes I feel like I'm cheating if I know what's coming, but also like in Casey's instance when he was playing Emerald, right? Or Leaf Green.
Leaf Green.
It's nice to know that you're about to get assassinated by your rival who can come at you on a whim. So I don't even know. Like, I'm very torn about it, because I use the Nuzlocke app too, because one of the nice things about it is it helps you track the Pokemon that you caught in certain areas. So like if I need to go back to somewhere where like I can only catch a Pokemon if I have the fishing rod, or like if I need one of the HMs to get to a certain area, you can go back and do that, and it helps remind you, oh, I didn't get one in the city, so I can get something in the city. But it also gives you those tips of who's coming up. And when I would use it to look at the levels of the trainers, but I wouldn't do it to look at their specific Pokemon or their moves, because I didn't want that to be ruined. But I also don't think it's completely wrong, because you're at such a deficit when you're playing this game that like I don't think it's giving you too much of an edge knowing, because just because you know what moves they have or what Pokemon they have doesn't mean that you're still going to win. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I also, to clarify, I didn't look to see like what do they have. I was just saying what level is coming up next. To a point where I lost a Pokemon because I straight up did not know that this Pokemon that defeated mine could do something, and I'm like, that's bullshit. So I wanted to know. So then from that point on, I was like, I want to know what I'm facing.
Oh yeah, I've totally got this Pokemon, and it uses Destiny Bond, and then you just lost a Pokemon. Adam, did you have any other fears aside from just kind of like hitting that integrity, or just being good enough? Because I know that you're like, I would say the most experienced for Pokemon for all of us. I think coming in from the competitive side, were there any concerns?
No, just like time was the big thing. I did notice that as I was playing the game, I was like, this is stupid. I want to get to the end of the game as soon as possible, because I got Wi-Fi battles to get doing. Like, what are we doing here? So like I had to like shut off that like old school brain of mine and like actually play and enjoy the game, because I noticed like after a certain point, like back in the day, I would just play the games to play the games and then get to like the multiplayer
Yeah.
aspect of it. So like I was playing Platinum, I was like, I don't remember this part of the story whatsoever, and I've had to have played Platinum like 10 times at this point. So like it was very, very surprising to me, like even though I was focusing on not losing all my Pokemon, I was also like enjoying the story for like the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird to have to think about your choices and how you're going to handle situations too. And I don't think that you have to do that as much when you're playing traditional Pokemon, because you can just throw out all those healing items at any given point to make it through. But here, even something as like your starter choice is pivotal, because there are some games that if you chose a certain type, you might not get a certain type unless you choose your starter. And like I think specifically for Gen 4, there is an absence of fire types throughout the game, and like I think a fire type is pretty much a necessity at some point. So how did playing like this Nuzlocke impact your starter? What was your kind of thought processes behind who you're going to choose?
Torterra all day, every day. No.
Well, I know for you it's easy, Adam, but I mean that's a given for you because that's something that you swear by. But like Jason and Casey, I don't think you guys necessarily have the Pokemon you swear by. So
yeah, I think for me, I had not played Sapphire before, so I researched quickly and discovered that there was a lot of water. It has lots of water. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll go with grass, because I wanted to go in pretty blind, but as I said before, that changed later on. But yeah, so I went with Sceptile now, but whatever the first one was.
Trico.
Yeah, Trico, Grovoil, Sceptile.
I
feel like you're at an advantage there too in Gen 3, because I'm not one for starters, but like all of the starters are really good in Gen 3.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I looked at a tier list
really
later,
good.
and they're all like pretty high. So I was like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
that works.
For my for Leaf Green, I've always been like I'm not like a huge like I always use starters, but I'm not really like a stan for like any specific starters besides Bulbasaur, who was my starter in Leaf Green.
Yeah,
and,
I stand him too. All day.
He's so
day,
cute.
yeah.
I think Venusaur is kind of ugly, but that's whatever. He's still a beast. But so I was kind of bummed when when I wiped on Leaf Green, but then I had forgotten that in Pokemon Y, Professor Sycamore, I think, gives you one of the original starters. So I got to have Venusaur or Bulbasaur and later Venusaur in my party. So that was cool. But I did go with Froakie. But I lost him. Well, it was what's his second evolution? Frogadier, I think. I lost him around to level 30. So that was a little sad because I really do like Greninja, but it wasn't a huge detriment to my run.
I'm kind of with you, Casey, where like sometimes I debate actually even using my starter, or even right off the bat, where sometimes that first Pokemon I catch, that first Pidgey or Pidgey variant, is my starter, just because I don't know. I think it's just more fun coming in from the ground up and really like slaying the game with something a little bit more base than you being like this random kid who gets this like elite Pokemon at the very beginning. I didn't do that this time because I've never played Gen 5, so I definitely went with Oshawott, just because I feel like water tends to have fewer weaknesses than the other two. I feel like their two's weaknesses are a lot more common. And then one thing I get really concerned about too is there are a lot of starters that have 4 times weaknesses. Like Charizard has a 4 times weakness, or Swampert has 4 times weakness. And in a Nuzlocke, that is a pretty big deal, because even like a moderate attacker could just take out your Pokemon in one hit. So I would try and stay away from that as much as possible. And grass can just be really hard too in general for choosing it, because there are a ton of common grass weaknesses, especially at the beginning of the game, because you tend to see a lot of bug types and flying types. So it's a rough go for grass. So yeah, I chose water this time around. That was kind of my strategy around it. Adam, what was it like playing a starter that had a 4 times weakness throughout?
I cannot tell you the amount of Pokemon that have Ice Fang. It is ridiculous. So
Aw.
basically, like, we'll probably get to it, but like my Pokemon kill count is so high because basically I'd be like battling with my Torterra, and then like someone would Ice Fang me and take me down to like 25%, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna lose the speed battle here. Jump on in there, Bidoof. Like, gotta heal up real quick, and then bye bye Bidoof, hyper potion the Torterra, send it back in to like clean things up. But like, it definitely like you get a tight butthole for sure when you're like randomly battling, and then like a Pokemon you don't think is gonna have like 4 times attack. You're just like, oh, that's how we're playing.
You're just watching the health bar go down like, more and more, and you're like, please stop.
And the even worse thing about Platinum and Gen 4 is that's the game where the hit point bar goes down astronomically slow.
Oh yes, excruciatingly.
Like it just so you're literally just watching it tick down, which I think it causes even more drama when you're playing. It's even funnier like that.
Because there's an ice gym leader, so like basically I had only two other good Pokemon at this point that were like comparable, and they did a good chunk of it, and it got down to my Torterra versus the gym leader's Gallade. And not to bore you with like minor details and stuff like that, but like it has an ability that raises its evasiveness. So it's like I either hit this crunch right now and hopefully OHKO this Gallade, or this Gallade just like destroys me with a blizzard. And
Gallade or Glalie?
The ghost ice type. Or not Gallade. I said Gallade. Yes, Frostlass. Excuse me. I was gonna Frostlass, the ghost ice Pokemon. But thankfully, Crunch got through.
Is a notorious gym for that. In fact, when Jason was here, I made him watch like a Nuzlocke video of a YouTube creator named Jaden, and like it specifically talks about that Frostlass wrecking one of her Pokemon because of the extra evasion. It's nuts. It's crazy that things that you wouldn't think that matter in a regular game matter so much.
Yeah, because typically you play and you're like, okay, they can knock out this Pokemon and I'll just revive it and then I'll throw it back out there. But like, no, you can't revive it. It's dead. So like, you kind of have to like really plan ahead for everything. Like before I even got to the second gym, I was like, I need to have a fighting type because I need to be ready for the ice gym leader.
What would you say your overall experience was in terms of Nuzlocking? And then some of the weird features that kind of come into it, like things that you wouldn't think that mattered, like nicknaming. Like if you had your overall experience, just smash it all together, how would you describe it? Because Casey, I know you said that you kind of like raged at some point, but was it all rage?
No, it was honestly really fun. As I haven't loved the last couple of iterations of Pokemon. I haven't beaten, but I've gotten close to beating Arceus, and I like a lot of it, but I don't love the lack of gems and the lack of trainer battles. And Sword and Shield was just kind of meh. But it was fun. It was Pokemon Y, which I guess I haven't played since it came out like a decade ago. So I really enjoyed it, and the nicknaming was fun. And Leaf Green, I went kind of for my nickname. I did all like drag queen names, and then
good idea.
And then for this go, I mostly went for like either just like cute shortened versions or like something really dirty. And that was kind of
Can
fun.
you give us an example of something really dirty?
So what's the Firebird that you catch in the first
Talonflame?
No, but it's first evolution, or it's first
Fletchling.
Oh, Fletching.
So I named it Felching, except I had to throw in like an extra letter because it wouldn't let me name it that as is. And then like I named whatever Meryl's baby evolution like Ass, but it was like with 2 Z's, and which worked for Azumarill, which I eventually got to. So just it was fun. It was fun. But then like for some like the flower, I forget its name, the little flower fairy guy, I just named it Flo. But so cute or really dirty.
I think for me overall, Nuzlocking is not how I would enjoy playing games. So like it wasn't the most enjoyable experience, but I can appreciate it for what it is, and I can appreciate the challenge, and so that was pretty cool. it ultimately came down to not really enjoying Pokemon the way I like to enjoy it, which is collecting everything and like becoming powerful. That's what I like to do. But some things that did stand out, it was fun to nickname people. My nicknaming method was whatever the Pokemon I caught was, I used the same alliterative first letter.
Oh.
So like Makuhita became Mighty Max, and like so on and so forth for everything. That was pretty fun. And then I did also find a newfound hatred for being confused, which I've already hated
Oh, it's
from the
so
beginning
much
of the
worse
game.
than Nuzlocke.
I legitimately have with me a list of the times I got confused
Oh,
and
wow.
the ratio that I hit or was taken
Oh,
or I
wow.
took damage.
That's
It
hilarious.
is
You
very
did
much
analytics on confusion.
I did
You're-
because I was like, this is happening way too often, and so my analysis shows that it's not as bad as I thought it was. But in my game, when I got confused, 60% of the time I would take damage, and then like 40% of the time I would hit.
Huh, so they
Wow.
lied. It's supposed to be 50-50.
Exactly. I was like, I could see what they're going for, but they didn't quite make it, and I'm gonna tell them this 20-year-old game is not working right. But anyways, that's kind of my big takeaways from right off the bat.
This was my third Nuzlocke. I've Nuzlocked Sun and X.
Hmm.
And then this was Black 2. And I would say that like Sun was moderately difficult. X was pretty easy because of things like mega evolutions and friendship levels. So like when I played Sun, I didn't end up doing those things just to like add to that challenge a little bit. But Black 2 was hard. Like I would say this was probably the pinnacle of nuzlocking for me, and to the point where sometimes it was a little unfair. To like there are a lot of times, depending on the color of the grass that you are in, you might get into a Pokemon double battle. Or there are a lot of trainers that have double battles, or there are a lot of trainers that have triple battles, or there are a lot of trainers that have rotation battles, which is literally like
I remember those things.
Yeah,
I forgot about that too.
And they're fun and they're exciting, but a lot of Pokemon can't take two hits. Or Helping Hand is a move that can be really effective against you in a Nuzlocke. So a lot of my losses came from like unfair situations of like, oh, I'm just gonna fight this trainer. Plot twist, it's a rotation battle, or nope, this is a triple battle. You're definitely losing someone here. And then in the off chance that like if I was in a double battle, and I sometimes in Black 2, you're with your rival or with another Pokemon trainer, like crossing my fingers that their Pokemon is the one that would get double jumped by the enemy. So that way it wouldn't be my pathetic little Pokemon like struggling to get by. So yeah, I think there were some times where it was like, if you want a real challenge, Black 2 is definitely more along the lines of not in your favor.
So yeah, for me, it was just with the catch the first thing you see. Like I started using a lot more Pokemon that I personally would never choose to use. Like I was rocking a Noctowl and a Floatzel going into the Elite Four, and I never would do that ever. Like you go with the cool Staraptor because he's the the bird Pokemon for that generation, but I never caught a Starly, so I had to work with what I was given. That was kind of cool, like getting a deeper appreciation for like all the Pokemon that are potential to use. And then nicknames got fun as well, but then at a certain point, like I know you're supposed to use the nicknames to like get more attached to the Pokemon, but like at a certain point I was like, no, you have to die, Hootie Hoo. I'm sorry, bud, but like
sorry, Hootie Hoo.
So
I actually want to talk about that a little bit more because I think you brought up one of my favorite aspects about nuzlocking, and that is using Pokemon that you would never normally use. And I think that is truly what makes the game, because typically by the time you get to the 6th gym, if not the 7th gym, you already have like a pretty elite team and maybe like one Pokemon that you just kind of favorite. You know what I mean?
Your charity Pokemon.
Yeah, they may not be the best, but you're just so emotionally attached to that Pokemon. And you said that you use like a Noctowl, and Noctowl is, all things considered, a pretty like a good Pokemon, but it's not like higher echelon. So it makes you think a lot more about who you're training and who you're using. What was that like for you guys?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I think there was, like you said, Pokemon I would never really use. Like I got really attached to one of the first Pokemon I got was Wingull, who was quickly named into Walter. So Walter and I went all the way to the Elite Four, and he was a Pelipper, I think is what it is by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I do like to have a flying Pokemon on there, but he was pretty weak throughout the whole game. I'm like, he's not the greatest that I can do things with here. Not terrible, but he just didn't learn many good moves. But I'm like, you know what, man, you're what I got. So like this is what we got to roll with. So it was fun, and I think the other ones were like finding out that I can't think of the name. I named him Porky. He's a is it Poochyena? Is it that one? Because it's a
Oh,
P.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I probably would never have used him because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't really care for like the dog Pokemons, I guess. I know,
But
right?
they're
Gasp.
so cute.
But like I used him and I'm like, wow, he's like clutch like all the time throughout many fights. Especially later. Like there's a psychic gym, I think, and like his crunch was or bite, whatever it was really, really good. So
Yeah.
it was kind of cool to see like that sort of come in because I would never have played it that way. And it was fun. Oh,
It's-
and a fun side is what just happened. I legit don't know some Pokemon's names. Like all I know is I have this his name is Notorious, and he's a fire Pokemon, like fire ground, and he became this one that has like
Numel?
Numel, yeah, exactly. And I can't even tell you. I couldn't tell you that name, and I don't know what he became, but I just know him as Notorious. And like,
But I mean that's not fun. Like this is your little bro Notorious who
exactly Notorious.
like,
yeah.
made an imprint on the things that you did.
Yeah, someone's gonna be like, "What's your favorite Pokemon?" I'm gonna see Notorious. And they're like,
Notorious.
Yeah, who is that? I'm like, y'all don't know Notorious?
That makes me
DIG.
happy because I've had trouble remembering the actual names of some of mine. I'm just like, it's the sword ghost guy, or it's the panda, the fighting dark panda, who that's good to hear because I thought I was gonna sound stupid not remembering.
No,
not
I
remembering
mean,
names.
we're talking about what plus 1,000 coming up in this new gen. I mean, it's hard to stay on top of all of these guys. I get what you're saying about like just the Pokemon you wouldn't expect because when I did my Sun run, Probopass was one that I would never use Probopass. But that tanky motherfucker, it didn't matter that he had 2 moves that were 4 times effective. He would still stand there because he was just so defensively strong. He was my ride or die that game.
And it knows sturdy, which is nice. It knows sturdy, right? I think.
Yeah, and he also had sturdy, which was a big deal too. So even in the off chance that like something would take me out, like a Z move in that game, like he would still be there with 1 hit point. In this game, kind of like with you and Pelipper, I used a Swanna, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to use a Swanna.
But what else are you gonna do?
But I mean, well, and I had options, but I'm like, but I don't really have a water type aside from Samurott, and I lost Samurott, so I didn't have
so you have less options.
I'm like, well, fuck, because I had a gym where I needed a water type, but Swanna hit really hard and was really fast, and I was like, nice. Had a priority attacking debuff move, so like it was almost always going to drop the enemy's attack first, which was pretty huge for me. And I was like, I love you. I named you after my cat that I don't like because I thought you were going to suck.
Appreciation.
But you don't suck. You're actually really good. And then the other one that was kind of clutch for me that I wouldn't normally use is Drapion. I know that he looks like a badass, but I think it was that whole tank situation. Like he was a big tank for me, and dark type Pokemon are pretty sound in the older gens because they don't have the weakness to fighting. Because fairy is their only other weakness. So, and there's no fairy pre Gen 6. So he stood there and was able to take a lot of hits, which got me through a lot of different things. So yeah, those were my 2 standouts in this game. I was actually surprised about how well they carried me into the Elite Four.
I found that I didn't realize, or I'd forgotten how like often you're just almost handed Pokemon in Pokemon Y. I mean, it's not a ton, but like
It's a you
you get
get a free Lucario.
Yes.
You get a free Gen 1 starter.
Right.
Like
You
you're
get a-
handed a lot
you get a
of
free
Pokemon.
you
in
get a
that
free
game.
Lapras. There's Snorlax, who like you're not handed, but like you know, like
He ain't going anywhere.
Right, he's not going anywhere. As long as you don't go in the grass, you don't have to go in. You can catch him in that area. So it's like, and like Snorlax, Venusaur, Lapras after my Froakie second evolution died, like they were all with me for a long time. And then I lucked out like in random battles, like getting Honedge. Like he's super strong, and like I happened to encounter him in whatever route it was that he's in, and I had kind of glanced at who were potentials, and I was really excited about the prospect of getting him, but I was like, it's not gonna happen. There's like 18 other things that are here. And then there he was. So I felt really lucky with the team that I got, because honestly it was mostly things that I feel like I used 10 years ago when I first played, or I thought I might use if like I hadn't already filled out my team. So
I think that's why people recommend X as like the starting Nuzlocke, because they do give you a lot of Pokemon that you would. It is kind of like playing it on that first trial mode before it's like, okay, but now you also have to think about which guys you're going to use, because there are just so many different options. Even the Pokedex in general in that game is larger than some of the other ones.
It was very amusing after my Froakie thing died, and I was like, well fuck, I don't have anything water in my box. And then like I go from the town right to like the next area, and this person's like, oh hey, here's a Lapras. I was I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I like literally just lost my water Pokemon. Thank you so much. And then she died maybe like, I don't know, a few hours later, and it was fine. I just put Azumarill back in my party, but you know, it was cool.
Adam, did you have any standouts for your team that you were kind of surprised about?
Honestly, the Noctowl. Like, I was just like, you're the worst of the flying type. In my opinion, he's the worst of the flying types in like Platinum, because he doesn't have like a very good ability. Because like Staraptor has Intimidate, so like you're already jumping in with, you know, -2 attack. But yeah, he like cleaned up really nicely, and I only used his psychic move that he comes with, and I eventually taught him fly, and like that came in clutch as well, because people be missing and he was not. So yeah, Noctowl was very, very surprising, especially in...
Yeah, he kind of has that edge of like being diverse and learning different things that some of the other Pokemon that are flying types can't, right?
Yeah, I would say, because he gets psychic moves that are not stab, but there's just a ton of Croagunks in the game, which is 4 times weak to psychic. So like even without the stab of a psychic move like extrasensory, okay, bye Croagunk, see ya later. But it got to a point though, when I was fighting like in the Elite Four, he got hit by a close combat, which like he's a flying type, so like it shouldn't do that much damage, and it just one hit KO'd him, and I was like, cool.
Oh no,
this is exactly what I wanted to see. But no, yeah, like Noctowl was really clutch for me, and then I mean, I literally got no free Pokemon in Platinum. Like you get an Eevee, but like the Eevee has no good attack, so it got to a point where I was like, this is so hard to train you. Like you gotta go somewhere else. And then you get a Riolu, but it starts at level 1, and by that time, like I'm already like I need Pokemon that are like level 40 and above, and I just don't have the time to train you. So like you can go into the team, but like you're getting thrown out there to die. Sorry about you.
You're a potion fodder for someone else.
Yeah. So yeah,
living substitute.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Did I get any free Pokemon? I think the only quote freebie one in Sapphire might be Kyogre. Is that how you say it? He's not really freebie.
That's not even a freebie.
Not even a freebie, but like I mean, it's the only one you're gonna fight there. And I had a Master Ball, so that was kind of useful.
Yeah.
I don't think anything that would have been nice though to have other free stuff. Y'all spoiled.
I say, yeah. Did everyone just use their?
Hey, I didn't have any free stuff.
It's like Casey spoiled.
Yeah. I say, did everyone basically just use their Master Ball on their legendary, or did no one like who caught the legendary? Because Giratina was my legendary, and he came in really, really clutch during the Elite Four for me.
Yeah, I caught Kyogre with the the Master Ball.
I caught Yveltal or whatever. Yeah, with the Master Ball. I didn't use them. I wanted to, but I didn't.
Oh wow.
Mine is like Hiram, but I don't use legendaries when I play.
Ooh,
yeah.
look at you.
He's too good for legendary Pokemon.
I sincerely am.
Patrick, you are legendary.
Basically.
An icon.
Thanks, BB. One thing I want to know too, because this was a situation that I ran into, I do look up what Pokemon you can catch and like the percentage chance that you can catch them, or if I can come back later to a certain area. Can you skip, or did you guys skip any Pokemon to, like in a certain area and come back later so you could get something better? Or were there any like workarounds to get further on in the area so you could catch something like the third level of a cave only has this Pokemon? Because I know there's this one part in Black 2 when you're in the desert, and if you can make it through this path, you can actually get a Mandibuzz. And I was really excited about that. I'm like, okay, this is like a super tanky Pokemon that's going to help carry me through the game. And I got to it without getting in any encounters. But of course, when I catch him, he has weak armor, which is every time he gets hit, his defense goes down, but his speed goes up. And in competitive, that can be really good. But in Nuzlocking, where this Pokemon gets weaker and weaker, it's really not, because he's probably not going to sweep.
Yeah.
So did you have any situations like that where you're like planning ahead to make sure that you catch a certain type of Pokemon, or was it pretty much just run into the grass first thing you see?
Mine was that run to the grass, catch what I saw.
Assuming you didn't get something handed to you.
Yes,
yes, of
that
the Casey clause. Yes.
Here's 3 free Mewtwo's.
I think for me, the only time I can think I did that is I'm terrible with names, but I think it was the third gym is Electric in Sapphire, and I had absolutely no one to deal with that. But if you like went ahead of the area, I think there was a Makuhita was there. That's where I caught Mighty Max, and I had to level him up to basically take on that entire gym leader by himself, and it worked, so it was good.
Yeah, I didn't really have the opportunity to, because in Platinum, basically, like, you run into so many different routes that you're going to run into later that it's kind of impossible to like save them. I tried on like some of like the Mount Coronet routes, if you guys are familiar with.
Load up on repels.
Yeah, but then I would.
Oh, is that because you like half go in it, but then you have to climb it later? So at that point, like you've already got your
and
catch?
That's how I treated it too. Like, yeah, you have to run through Mount Coronet like 4 different times before you actually get to the good Pokemon. So like by that time, it was like, there's no point. I'm just gonna ride with what I got.
I mean, I think you did it the right way, because just because the game doesn't let you go in a certain area in phases doesn't mean that you haven't already caught a Pokemon in that section. So I think you did it like a pretty fair way.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it sounds fair.
Is it?
What is it fair? I mean, nothing in Nuzlocking is truly fair, but
So I have a question for the group here. I had many times where I was just saying with the gym, I was like, I'm not going to do this. This is going to be too tough. And then there was another time with a random Pokemon that I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to win this fight. Did that ever happen to you guys in your run? Because I hope I'm not alone.
Every time my rival showed up.
Oh, yes.
Because yeah, for me it was my rival. He starts with the Staraptor, so he would immediately intimidate my lead Pokemon, and then he has Endeavor. So like even if I got the first hit off, like it wasn't gonna kill him. So like I could always take him down to like 25% basically. Then he would Endeavor me, and then funny enough, he also has Quick Attack. So like he just like kind of caught me off guard one time and just like Endeavored me to 10 HP. And then Quick Attack me. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Big dick energy move right there.
Yeah, I was like, what is this, a pro move? What is going on right now?
It literally is a
Yeah.
pro move.
So and then I was like, okay, I got through him. That's fine. I'll just get to the next one. And then, of course, the next Pokemon also has a priority move. So I'm like, oh my gosh, they're just going to endeavor me to death. So that was me. Like, anytime I went up against Barry, my rival, it was just like, you're going to pull some shenanigans and it's going to annoy me.
Fucking Barry.
Fucking Barry, the worst.
I had a few situations when I was playing where I didn't have a Pokemon who was effective in a gym. And that was a big concern for me because, I mean, like, you can go in reasonably confident if you have something. Or if I did have something that was effective, it was also, like, didn't have the resistance. So I had a Galvantula. It's a bug electric. And I went to the flying gym and, you know, in some capacity, it's like, this guy should rock, but he's not a tanky Pokemon. So even if he is dishing out some electric moves, and he was the only electric Pokemon that I had, he wasn't going to be able to take anything in return. And that's where I lost him. So any situation where I was like that, where I just didn't have something, and especially Gen 5 has a dragon gym. And I don't think you can catch any ice Pokemon prior to that. If you can, it's like there are very few. So that was very scary. Then the other scary thing was just looking up the mess of the Elite Four. Like trying to adhere to a level cap so I wasn't too far over leveled, but also like looking at the items and the move sets that they have. Like one of the fucking Elite Four Pokemon has a life orb equipped to it, so it's already doing like, was it 30% extra 30% damage
extra?
Yeah, so like enemies in Black 2 have items equipped to them, and it's just a fuckery. Like that's one of the reasons why it's so hard. They're just doing extra beyond anything that you can handle damage unless you're just super prepared. So that was like, I don't know how I'm going to go get through this. Oh shit.
I didn't have any major trouble with gyms, and honestly the Elite Four, I made it because I did make it to the Elite Four and then wiped on the champion. But I think it's just an optional area called the Lost Hotel. I think the Lost Hotel. And I was doing good, and then I lost like 4 fucking Pokemon in there, and thankfully I had not used any of my revives, but I lost Lucario, Snorlax, Venusaur, and Florgas, like my 4 strongest of my 6, and I revived everyone but Lucario to use the 3 revives I gave myself. But I was like, I just like noped out of there because it's just an optional area, and I was like, nope, I don't even. It was very frustrating, and that's the moment where I like yelled, and my boyfriend was like, "Are you okay?" But and
you said that was just a random trainer, right?
Yeah, it was just a random trainer. Like honestly, like didn't have any major troubles with gyms. Elite Four, I was terrified about, but did fine for the most part. I lost 2, so I had 4 going into the champion, and I almost beat her, but I got her Gardevoir. I think that was the last one. Whichever one Mega evolves. And
yeah, she has a Mega.
Yeah, and I got her down to like a 3rd or a 4th, and then she like wiped my last 4. But my biggest oh shit moment was in the fucking Lost Hotel.
For me, I think knowing that the gym was coming, I was like, okay, I can prepare for this. But some point after, there was I guess it's also optional, but it's like a house you can go in where you fight like a family of trainers, like the kid, the grandkid, the dad, the grandma, and like you fight them all in a row. And I didn't know that, and I was like, oh my god, it's okay. I came out without losing anybody, so I was like, this is good. But that was the moment where I'm like, I need to know what's coming, because that really caught me off guard, because I just glanced through like there's 4 trainers on this route. I'm like, oh, I'll grab them, no problem. I didn't know they were like subsequent. So that was one, and then
it is a slap in the face when the games do that too. Sun has this one part where you're fighting with your rival, and then there's like the edgy rival, and you're not fighting against them, you're fighting with them against the bad team. But the hard part is like it's just battle after battle after battle, like you don't get a break in between. So it's hard to prepare for something like that, because there's just no room. But it's, I mean, it can be exciting too.
There's something like
Yeah,
that
it-
at the end. Oh, just at the end of Pokemon Y, you fight all like your rival and then like the three like little friend group. You fight all of them in a row, and that got me. But thankfully, they were not too difficult.
What
Yeah,
was your other one, Jason?
I do think that a lot of the fun from the game was like those moments where I got like caught up in it, like, oh, this, I got to do this. And the other one that was a big oh shit moment was I'm not gonna remember the Pokemon's name. I think it's like Myotic or something like that. It's a weird like
Oh, Milotic.
yeah.
It's
Milotic?
Water
Water
yeah.
type snake.
yeah, a random trainer. Yeah, it's like a snake thing. A random trainer has it on a route, and I'm like, what the hell? And it's like level 32, so it's like right around the cap I'm supposed to be. I had not played this game. I don't know Pokemon that well, so I had no idea what this did. And I had just caught and leveled up this Oddish that I conveniently named not Odysseus, but Odysseus. And it
Odysseus.
killed it, and I was so mad that Odysseus died. And oh my god, I was so pissed. So that was really scary because every move I had for my entire team, because it one-shotted Odysseus, like I couldn't do anything. So I ended up just basically, I don't remember what it was, Hariyama or someone, like doing a move, doing a hyper potion or full restore, doing a hyper potion, and just back and forth till I finally whittled it down. That fight took like 15 minutes. It was
and
for
that's a
just that
rough
one
one.
Pokemon.
That's
Yeah.
the Gyarados of Gen 3, basically. Like
Oh, man.
stat wise, it's a
Super bulky,
stacked
too.
Pokemons. Yeah, so like
That
it
was
is
rough.
it is a big middle finger when you have these tough Pokemon at early times that you just can't handle. I think what we're kind of culminating our discussion to is our losses, because we
Aw.
keep on bringing them up. So I think I want to talk about like just what were your overall losses? Why do you think, what was exciting about losing Pokemon? I think that's kind of a
Literally
weird way
nothing.
to phrase that, but I mean, like
Mhm.
at the same time, I think the risk of that, like, what was the excitement in that, and then kind of how did you adjust? Like, how did you pivot when
Yeah.
you did lose? So let's just kind of like tackle this, because I think this is probably the biggest part of a Nuzlocke. You know, this is what makes a Nuzlocke. Aside from limiting what you can catch, it's also what the losses look like for you.
So yeah, because I ended up
Yeah.
with 20 deaths at the end of everything.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Is that because I know you said earlier that does that include like your resets or no?
My resets, like the whole team got wiped. So like
Yeah.
uh
Is that like 6 of your 20 or no?
so like when I went back into those battles, like even like getting out of those, like I still would lose anywhere from like 2 to 3 Pokemon.
Okay.
So
Oof, jeez.
yeah.
Man.
Like basically it just got to a point where I was just like everything is fodder. Like I got my
Mhm.
3 main guys, and like the other 3 guys are just pivot points throughout the match. Like there was one point during my Nuzlocke, like I was at 10 deaths and I literally only had 3 Pokemon that were alive.
Oh wow.
Mm.
So yeah, and then I ended the game with only 5 living Pokemon. Thankfully, like I got to a point where I was kind of like stacking Pokemon in my PC, but yeah, like it basically just got to a point where I was like, the losses were nice because I knew like, okay, he survived with just enough HP for me to heal up my main attacker, which was either Torterra or Noctowl at a certain point, and then I could,
Mhm.
you know, that meant like, okay, cool. Even though you're gonna die, bud, like we're good. We can get to the next battle. Because did you guys do? I guess I should have brought this up earlier, but did you do set or shift battles?
I do set. So that basically means if you guys aren't sure, when you
Mhm.
defeat a Pokemon, it asks you, it tells you who they're going to use and asks you if you want to change. I always turn that off because it just doesn't make sense to me to like tell me, hey, I'm about to use Pikachu, and you're like, cool, ground type coming out.
Sweet,
Like,
sweet, yeah.
you know, so you can actually set that off as a default option, which changes how the game is played completely.
Because yeah, I did set as well. So like basically any like when I pivoted, like something was gonna get hit. It wasn't like, you know, I had like
yeah,
a
it either
chance.
it's like playing tournament wise. It either gives them the chance to set up, so they'll predict that you're going to switch and they'll do something that boosts their attack or their speed or whatever, or they know that they're going to get guaranteed free damage on the next Pokemon. Like it's just not in your favor.
Yeah, so
And it's hard to prepare for.
So yeah, for me, like the losses, like after I lost like 10 Pokemon, I was just like, you know what? death comes for us all. We're just gonna ride it out, baby. So like the deaths came to be a point where it was a strategic loss for me. So like I didn't feel good about it, obviously, but like I knew like the pivots were gonna help me get to, actually winning a battle and being able to move forward.
Yeah, I did it similarly too, where there were some Pokemon that were basically just fodder for the other ones. So like I had a Zigzagoon that was in my team for a long time. His name was Zig Zig Zig, and he was literally just the HM mule. Which side note, there's way too many freaking HMs in Pokemon Sapphire.
There really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 6 too many. Yeah. Oh my god. Anyways, so yeah, like he would be there, and it would just be like if I needed to throw the potion on someone else, I'd throw him out. So I didn't try to get connected. They were like the forgotten stepchild that I just didn't want to talk to that much. And so that was there, but the biggest pivot I had was when Matthew the Magikarp that became Matthew the Gyarados was killed by I'm bad with Pokemon, but I think it's the clay pot one, because it had self-destruct, which I did not know. And so it self-destructed and it killed him, and I was pissed.
Oh, I'd be so mad.
But I was very mad. But the good thing was that's what led me to Porky the Poochyena, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, so this worked out. Like the pivot was okay, but he was like my only dragon throughout the entire game. Actually, is he even a dragon? I don't even know if he is. But like he was going to be part of my team going to the end, and I couldn't do it.
Wait, who was?
Gyarados.
No, he's not a dragon.
He's not a dragon. Okay, perfect. It doesn't even. It's fine. The other issue I had too was one of my fodder Pokemon that I got rid of because I thought it would be okay was Electrike, because I just didn't need it at the time. I legitimately never ran into another electric Pokemon in the entire game.
Oh wow!
So like,
yeah,
and I
feel like there's Plusle, Minun, and Electrike, and I can't think of many more in Gen 3.
I looked the Safari Zone. You can get like Pikachu, but I didn't. I don't remember what I pulled, but it wasn't him. And so I'm like, well, okay, great. So like I had no electric the entire time, and in hindsight, that was a mistake. So Evelyn the Electrike, I'm so sorry that I let you die.
So I lost 9 before the Elite Four. And then I lost all 6 at my first attempt on the Elite Four. Which there are like there are different ways to play the game. Sometimes people call that a blackout, which is just you lose the game. Or some people call it a whiteout, where if you still want to accomplish being the champion, you scrap those Pokemon because you lost them, and then you just raise new people and do it again. Which I did, and I won, but I lost 3 more in my second round, so I lost 18 Pokemon total. But it was, aside from at the end, it was pretty fairly spread out. Like I told you guys, I lost my starter pretty early. I lost a bunch of Pokemon really early in the game, which really like I wasn't that surprised, just because so early your stats are so low that a random crit can take you out. And can we talk about crits for a second and how unnecessary they are in a Nuzlocke? Because Jesus,
turn them off.
You're just kind of like, the bar just goes down. You're like, please stop. Oh my god.
please stop. It's like you did 40% damage the first time. I can take 1 more hits, and then it's like you're not gonna crit this next time. It's like, oh no, you're critting. But I think like that's still the exciting thing about the game, because it still keeps you on your toes. Like I lost some good Pokemon, like losing Galvantula, losing Samurott. I was really looking forward to using Crustle, because I've never used Crustle before, and I know he's like a physical tanky beast. It was exciting to be like, okay, but what's the next thing I'm going to use? And knowing that I still had a lot of Pokemon coming up, like I might not, if I hadn't lost my Leavanny, I might not have used Heracross later on, because it was just completely different role on what they did. Or if I hadn't lost my Samurott, I wouldn't have used Swanna. And, there was a lot of surprises from that. So having to like pivot the way that I played and really think about it in a different aspect. It's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! When you're watching the show or you're playing the game and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm backed into a corner a little bit. So how am I going to get my way out of the situation?
Part of the cards guide.
And not, yeah. And the cards totally did. I believe in the heart of the cards, man. So, yeah, it was a rough go. It was definitely a rough go fighting the champion, because I made it all the way to the champion's final Pokemon, kind of like Casey did, and it was a Haxorus. And the problem was I couldn't do enough damage to it because my ice Pokemon was gone. And then it was able to set up on me because of that, so it kept on using Dragon Dance, and then I'm just kind of like, well, this is over.
That's the worst, is when you're fighting something and it's like it just keeps using the stat and you're like, I'm gonna fucking die. That happened to me a couple of times.
I'm gonna fucking die.
Okay, just happy face. Yeah.
The AI is not in your favor for some of the harder games, which I like, because you're in some of the games the AI is so bad that it just keeps on using electric moves when it knows that you're using a ground type.
Yeah.
So it is nice to see like, oh, I can take the time to set up on you because you're a chump, and really throw that challenge in there.
Yeah, I was kind of for the Elite Four too. Yeah, I had to like, because I was getting down to the wire. I was like, okay, well, this guy's got to go first. And then also, did you guys ever have any issues in the Elite Four with like PP, like the PP for your Pokemon? So like running out of PP for your attacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
I saved all my ethers and elixirs for that, so I was actually pretty okay.
Well, I only had 3.
But then you have to like take a turn to use it, and it's like it's
right.
rough. Like even that's hard.
Well, I just use them between the battles.
That's it. Yeah, I ended up doing that as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking mid battle. Yeah.
Sometimes the battles though, like when I was fighting the champion, I got to a point where I was like, okay, I think if I just keep healing my Pokemon with potions, because I think I'd bought like 100 hyper potions or full restores. I was like, I can just run their PP down as long as they don't get a crit hit, and then I can use my moves. But it lasted for like maybe like 6 turns, and then they finally killed me. But
no, I do like that strategy though, that turtle strategy of just waiting it out for their struggle to come through.
Yeah,
it is a strategy though, because if you think about
some
of their moves, like if you're only afraid of one move and they can't set up, you can outlast Blizzard, or you can outlast Ice Beam, because they only can use those for a limited turn. So that is also a strategy.
And it wasn't like moves that were like, it wasn't trying to get the opponent to use struggle. It was just like they had one super effective move that would almost kill me, and the other 3 were like stat boosting, or like I feel like I had something that like the move was like not effective, or like it didn't hit because of my type. So it was just getting to that point, but it didn't quite happen.
So we're here and I want to talk about it, and that's the Elite Four. So we've gone through our full adventures, you've had your losses, but like this is the culminating point of your game, and this is where you get your ultimate test of if you're a Pokemon champ, Nuzlocke champ, or not. And I don't know about you guys and how your Elite Fours are, because I don't really have them all memorized, but I honestly don't think that your Elite Four was probably as hard as my Elite Four. And I hate to say that because I don't want to be like,
you're probably right,
it's harder. But like most of the time when you're fighting Elite Four, you'll see like, oh, this is the rock type guy or the water type guy. And then like some of the other ones are the harder ones, but you're like totally prepared. The Elite Four in Black 2 is fighting, psychic, dark, and ghost.
Oh man.
Oh, wow.
Ghost.
So it's this like perfect square of, okay, if you have something to prepare for this type, then you're not prepared for the next one. And not much hits ghost, and then the champion is almost all dragon. I mean, like, and just elite Pokemon. So that was the biggest challenge. I lost a Pokemon each.
Jeez.
One.
Does Black let you fight the Elite, or Black 2 let you fight the Elite Four in any order, or had it not been implemented yet?
It does. It does. Black 2 lets you fight them in any order.
I don't know if that matters. I'd forgotten that was a thing, and when I went to Pokemon Y, I was like, oh, this is nice.
It does. That was actually, I think, where part of my strategy came from too, where if I knew I couldn't get through these 2 guys, I just wasn't going to do it. And I was just going to count it as a blackout, because I think the fighting one for me was the scariest. Looking at their moveset, they had something to counter. And that was the hard part about Black 2, is like every Elite Four member had things to counter their weaknesses. So like it just didn't matter. Like they had rock moves for flyers. They had dark moves for psychics. So it was just kind of like a, how am I going to do this? And that's why my second team ended up working out better, because I had Mamoswine and he just carried me through the entire thing. Like,
Aw,
let's be
what a
real.
cutie.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um,
what was your Elite Four? Like, how did it go? So I whited out, but then I ended up winning with 3 Pokemon left. Jason, how about you?
yeah. I this is my asterisk I mentioned earlier. I lost to the second person in the gym. I think she's the ghost type one. I don't know her name. I'm so sorry.
Is that it's
base
not Agatha, is it?
No, that's from Red Blue. I remember her. Anyways, I lost to her and lost all 6 of my team, and that was where I was like, I'm gonna start again and like just use these 6 again, just to try it. So I leveled up a little bit more, and then the next person, kind of like you just said, Patrick, she used ice Pokemon, and I think it's the really weird big face one. I think it's like
Glalie.
Glalie. Yeah,
I'm
it was
looking
like
at it
Glalie
right
something.
now. It's Glalie, yeah.
Yeah, I think she has 2 of those, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't do
remember
this.
that.
Yeah, and it was too hard, and so I'm already in it. Like, I think I had all 6 of my team. I even like they were pretty solid, but I was trying to stick to the level cap. So I went right in the middle of the leader, Steven. I think he's supposed to be 58. So I was like, I'll be like 54. I was like, I'll go right in the middle, or 55 maybe. But I felt like I was under level and I just couldn't do it. Like my Pokemon were just not able to get past, I think the move is Ice Beam. And oh my god, it would just destroy me. And so I'm sitting there trying to do my strat of like, okay, I can't fodder a Pokemon to do like a full restore or full heal or whatever. I just need to kind of like tough it out, but I couldn't do it. I know at some point my Kyogre got critted and that knocked it out, and I was like, it's over. Like, I'm not going to be able to win this. So after I blacked out the second time, I was like, I think I'm done with this. Like, I was not willing to commit more to beat this sumbitch. So I was gonna be done.
That's fair, and I think like you trying to keep it within like a fair level is also fair. I think as long as you're not going with like some crushingly devastating level, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
But
I could have went like, I'm gonna come back level 80 and just like stomp them, but like, what's the point, I guess. So I think I see the challenge, and this is where earlier I was like, I could respect the challenge. Like, I totally see it, and like I'm trying to use my Pokemon's move and their held items and everything to like strategize to win. But it was just too tough. And if you did like the rules that Adam did, where you're even more strict, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how you would get close to doing it. Like, that's very, very challenging.
You just pray for Torterra to hit everything really hard.
Yeah, pray. I prayed so many times. I prayed, I'm like, please just like lower my defense or something this turn so I can hit you.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
Yeah, say for me, I literally I got lucky on the first 2 because I used my box legendary Giratina. So thankfully he was able to take out the bug gym leader with his agent power, and then I was able to use my Noctowl as well. But that's when Noctowl got close combated by a Heracross and was bye-bye. So I was like,
Oof.
okay, see you when we see you, brother. Then the next gym leader is the ground type. So I just sent Torterra in there, and everything is either 4 times weak or 2 times weak to a grass move. So I just Giga Drain, Giga Drain, Giga Drain, Giga Drain. Nothing. We had one person with an Ice Fang, of course, and that got scary. But thankfully, Giga Drain like healed me pretty much back up.
Casey, you said yours was pretty straightforward.
It was.
Until you got to the champion.
Yeah, I think so. During the 4, so for my Elite Four, it's a steel, a fire, a water, and a dragon. And for the most part, I had gone in for each, kind of looking at the Nuzlocke app where it shows you who they have, and kind of got an idea of who I'd put first. And thankfully, I had someone for each who basically I was able to like tank through them, with the exception of Drosna, who the dragon. Her first Pokemon is the poison dragon, and so I knew my Azumarill would get wiped from like Sludge Bomb. So I don't remember who I did first. I think it was probably my Aegislash, since he's steel, so the poison wouldn't do anything. So I think I killed that one with him, and then swapped to Azumarill, and then like pretty much one shot everyone else with a fairy move. But everything else,
God, I love Azumarill.
Nice.
yeah, I did have the one. It didn't have huge power, which was a little sad. It had thick fat.
Oh, it didn't?
No, it had thick fat, which was fine. It was that was helpful in certain situations. But it was still good. But then like
and I feel like your Elite Four too is also in your favor because it's one of the only ones where each Elite Four member, aside from the champion, only has 4
yes,
Pokemon.
that's very true. And you can fight them
Nice.
in whatever order you want, which is which is
Yes.
a benefit. But yeah, then
So-
on the champion, I died.
Casey, in that game, do they hand you a level 99 Arceus before the fight?
No, they do not. But
It's level 80.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, for the champion, it was such smooth sailing. I think I was like texting Patrick while I was doing it, and I was like, I don't remember if I said this, but I was like, I'm gonna fucking win. This is gonna be fucking
Yeah,
cool.
you literally texted me. It was like what, Friday night? And you're
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna fucking.
I was-
No
I was
context,
like,
late night
I was
text.
like, I can't wait to take a picture of my like team after winning, because I was like,
and then 30 minutes later, you're like, I lost.
because
no.
I breezed through the first 3 of the champions Pokemon, like one shot, and then maybe like I think I honestly like one shot or like almost one shot like all but the last one, Gardevoir, and then it was like, and I came into the battle with 4, and she just took me out, and I tried the whole like I'm just gonna heal every time until like you run out of PP for that move that's almost killing my Azumarill and hopes you don't get a crit hit, but it happened. And I died.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah, but I was really proud, to be honest, because I was like, I don't even think I'll get that far, especially after Leaf Green and wiping like either right before or right after the first gym.
So did this like ultimate destruction at the end sully you from playing a Nuzlocke again, or would you say like this is probably your go-to now for a Pokemon game if you want to replay one?
I think I used to
I-
replay them all the time, but I think I would do it again. Because I'm kind of thinking about Heart Gold or Soul Silver because those are my favorites. So I think if I replay one again, it would be that, and I think I would try Nuzlocke.
I think those ones would be good for a Nuzlocke too. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, I would not do it again. But I think what I would do is, and I think I've talked about this with you, Patrick, I would do the Nuzlocke again where everything is randomized, like all Pokemon can appear at every area. I think that would be kind of fun. So like you could run into like a level 3 Mewtwo, like in the very
so
first
you would do a
section.
Nuzlocke randomizer, or
The
would you just
randomizer.
or would you
Yeah.
just do a randomizer?
Probably both. I think if I was like, what do I want to do? I'd rather enjoy the game and just run into the randomness of it and enjoy it for what it is. But the Nuzlocke could be fun. So I think if I ever did do another one, I would want that caveat, that sort of fun twist to
I think
enjoy it.
that is kind of I've watched them when people do them, and it's kind of like the fun thing because yeah, you can literally fight a level 3 Arceus, but
Yeah.
at least like if you have the Nuzlocke aspect in there, it's not like you're going to have this full team of elite Pokemon from
Yeah,
the very
freaking
beginning
crazy.
of the game. Like you might lose them still because they're low levels. It's actually
Yeah.
really funny too because you can't prepare for anything. Like
Exactly.
all of the gym leaders have completely random Pokemon too, so they could have anything from a Rattata to a Kyogre, and then if your Pokemon evolves, I think that's also random.
Wow.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. So
Interesting.
Rattata can become like Charizard or something
Yeah,
like that?
don't quote me on that, but I just remember watching someone
I think that's right, actually.
evolve their
I would do
their
it. Do it.
Kakuna into a Beedrill, but it evolved into a Caterpie.
Oh my god.
And
Oh,
then their
no.
Caterpie, they evolved, and then like it kept on being this like really funny like reverse evolution thing. I don't
That
know if
sounds
that's the same
fantastic.
thing, but I know that at the very least like there is a way to play that can happen. But okay, that makes sense. You would want it to be just a little bit more fun and wacky as you go
Yeah,
through it.
yeah, like a little bit more cash, and like maybe even like, I don't know, you can use revives, like just enjoy the game for what it is, because how are you gonna win with some Caterpies? But like let's get the story, of like, oh, it started like this, like that could be pretty fun.
I say, yeah.
Adam, how about you? Would you play it again?
Ooh, maybe. I don't know. Because like again, like I think about it from like the competitor side, and I'm like, I can't make the game any harder for myself because I need to complete it as soon as possible because I have to waste my days breeding Pokemon for perfect IV. Because I don't cheat like the top level players. You didn't hear that from me, but you heard it from me.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a fun experience, and it really made me enjoy Platinum even more. But I don't know if there's like any other games that I would want to replay because like as you guys are talking about like Ruby and Sapphire, like yeah, that's a game I don't really want to replay. Like maybe Heart Gold Soul Silver, Black 2 White 2 because I didn't finish those games as well. So yes, but maybe no. I know that's like not a good answer. But I would say, like, if you, for example, like if you guys wanted to do something like this again, like I would be more than happy to do it again. But like when Scarlet and Violet comes out, for example, like I probably wouldn't Nuzlocke those right off the bat.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well,
Patrick, you're the last one. What do you think?
You know my answer. Like, I enjoy those types of games. I think it's fun to see permanence in those. It kind of reminds me of playing something like an Iron Man Fire Emblem, where you're as you lose characters, you know that you'll have things to replace them, and if you don't, you'll make do with what you have, because that's, if a game is designed well enough, you can make it through. But also the indie community with the games that are coming out with games like Koromon, released not too long ago, which is, I don't want to say like a knockoff Pokemon, but it was heavily inspired by Pokemon, and they actually built Nuzlocking into the game. So
wow.
you can start a rule set that has it completely in there, and like I like that. Like, it's exciting to me because someone who literally has played Pokemon for the past 24 years, is it 24 or 25? I don't know. It's been a long time.
You played the originals 26 years.
Yeah, it's like been that long for me. It's nice to, unless they come up with their own way to increase difficulty, I need that push, or else it's just a time filler for me, because as we discussed in our Pokemon episode, it's just so far been the same thing, like is consistently reproducing the same thing. So it's nice to try something new.
So that makes me want to ask you this question then, Patrick. So for example, Scarlet and Violet are on the horizon. If those games are hard, or like, have a degree of difficulty to them, would you be intrigued by continuing to Nuzlocke, or would you kind of just go with the new hotness and, those would scratch those itch for like the competitiveness? Or do you like Nuzlocke as a game feature and want to do more Nuzlockes even if like Scarlet and Violet are hard? Does that make sense?
So I would probably play it on its own non-Nuzlocke. Like when Scott and I played Sword and Shield when they came out, and I did not Nuzlocke those because I just really wanted to experience the game. It just kind of depends. Like, if they're making it where it's the easiest game in the world, if I already know the majority of the Pokemon, like you see them anyways as you go, I'll probably end up Nuzlocking it. And that's why for Black 2, even though I hadn't specifically played Black 2, I did Nuzlocke it because I still knew all the Pokemon from future generation games, when they appeared. So I'd say it's a twain cost. It's a twain cost.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
I would want to see like what they've done, how the game holds as its own, or is it just kind of like an overly simplified romp? And if it is, then I'm going to do something to spruce it up myself, even if I am, quote, missing out on things. Because I do agree that like it is fun to collect everything, but at the end of the day, I can always do that after I beat the game. I can just go back and collect other Pokemon,
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Patrick, for putting us all together. Super fun to go through this challenge. My first Nuzlocke challenge, by the way. Maybe my last. But we want to know your thoughts, too. Tell us over on our Instagram and Twitter. They're both at RPGaymer. Love to hear your thoughts about your own experience with Nuzlocke. If you would do it, if you have done it, what were your challenges? What were your wins? What were your losses? We'd love to hear from you.
We'd also love to hear your thoughts over on our Discord channel. One of the things that we do there is discuss all of these beautiful things that we're doing on this podcast, and it is an open way to stay in direct touch with us, so make sure you head over there. Also, if you like merch and you want to support us, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/rpgaymer. You might in the future see some really cool postcards and stickers coming out there. If you enjoyed listening to us today, be on the lookout for extra content in between seasons 2 and 3. We'll keep pitching out some fun things for you guys to listen to, hopefully coming up in the next month or so. Gamers, we appreciate you all for listening and hope you had a great time. Now go out there and get gaming.